Hello and welcome. Excuse me, frog in my throat. Hello and welcome to DCP SideQuest episode number 84.
84.
It's March
84.
1st.
I'm a big boy now. It's
Yeah.
March 1st. It's March. Can you believe it?
It is.
Oh, officially
25 days till the rise.
2 weeks away from my birthday. Not saying you should get me anything,
Crocs.
but you only got 2 weeks left for shopping.
Well,
Nuts
someone on
Crocs.
Twitter showed me them croc balls.
Yeah,
and
croc
I know
balls.
what I'm
All right.
getting.
Let me address this real quick. Everybody keeps sending me pictures. There's like truck nuts for Crocs now, right?
Of course.
Somebody made these things. They keep retweeting. Listen, nobody with any class, not the kind of person who wears Crocs would not be associated with truck nuts. They're a gentleman, a scholar. No, would not be associated with something like that.
I highly disagree.
They're totally targeting the wrong audience for Crocs.
You're making them sound much worse by calling them truck nuts. They are cock and balls. All right.
Sorry, I got the branding wrong.
Yeah, you need a pair of crock and balls. Right. This is what you need.
Croc and balls.
Yep.
They're like
This is what you need.
spurs for your Crocs.
I mean, it's
Exactly.
the mutts nuts, man, for your Crocs. Why wouldn't you like them?
That's what I'm saying.
Look, when I am wearing my Crocs, I'm trying to look my best. I don't want to disgrace myself by wearing truck nuts.
You could
But
always
you can
make
pretend that
a
you're.
you could always make a D's nuts joke and immediately point at your shoes. Be like, you talking about
pretend you're a
D's?
cowboy. Like you know
How
how
about
you know, like,
these nuts?
cowboys have like spurs on their shoes. You just be like you look be like the croc cowboy.
Yeah,
They'd be like your spurs.
yeah. You
You
make
can-
it Brian
you can
rethink
walk,
this.
You can walk into your office, right? And it'll be like the Wild West. You'd be like, diddle-ing, and then you can put your hand up by your side, and then just like the yeah, you know, it'd
Yeah.
be great.
Be like, damn, look at those nuts. With them right on the heels like that? Woo.
Just letting them flap,
Guys,
hitting them in the
serious.
back of the heel.
Speaking
If they
of,
made that tinkle like spurs really do when you walk, I'd be more interested.
yeah, you need a
That
sound
little
effect with
jingle
it.
sound.
A little
yeah.
clank.
Every time you walk in a room, you get doo-doo-doo-doo.
Oh, the whistle too? The
Yeah.
wow.
That sounds fun.
You need
Right,
a
maybe
whole
they have,
soundtrack
those
with it.
those squeaky toys that dogs have. Maybe they put that in the croc, but every time you step down, it whistles that.
They sent us one of those because it's the new year, the new Luna year, Luna New Year.
Lunar New
They
Year.
sent- we get a crate every year from Japan where we get cool, delicious treats. And they
Japan
sent
crates.
Yeah, Japan loot
no,
crate.
it's called Sugoi crate, I believe.
Okay.
But everything's been great so far. But they sent us this little squeaky toy. So I was like, well, I have cats. Maybe they'll like it. And we went and squeaked it near them, hated it, ran away, terrified. Well, nothing to do with the squeaky air blowing weird thing.
I had to ban squeaky toys from being in the house. They were just driving me fucking crazy. My dog would just constantly, for hours on end, be eat, 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 eat.
Yeah, squeaky toys do that, man. There's a certain you gotta like understand the barriers of when and where and what you can accept with those squeaky toys.
Don't buy your
yeah.
children or pets loud things.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
Drum-
buy other people's children loud things because that's hilarious.
like a drum set.
I really recommend drum sets. Yeah,
My
it's
nephew
really
had a drum
go-to.
set. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know why they did that.
Perfect gift for a new family.
Speaking of squeaky things, how about them Outriders? Hmm?
Oh my God.
Outriders. Let's go, Outriders. Eyes up.
Eyes up,
Guardians
eyes
of
up,
the
Outriders.
I can't
Oh.
believe that was in the game. That was hilarious.
That was
It makes
yeah.
me, they must be like mega memers because
Yeah.
their game, like the writing is done in a very memey way.
Mhm, yeah,
And
yes.
then seeing the eyes up Outriders, I was like, oh, come on. You know,
Yeah.
oh, come on.
I mean,
Come on,
the
you.
initial images. Remember when we first saw the initial images for this game, and it looked exactly like three Guardians. It looked like a hunter, a warlock, and a titan.
It really did.
I gotta say, guys, this game, I think this demo, I should say, right? Because we've only got the demo so far. It possibly gives off the worst initial impression that I've gotten in years from any game. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm saying that the first 20 minutes of my experience with this game were me trying in vain to sign up for a Square account. Because
See, me, a cultured gamer, already had my Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 14
Yeah,
account.
I'm
mine-
sure I had an account with them, but I was sitting in the living room and I was trying to do it like by scanning. They have like what are those QR codes that popped up on the TV? I was trying to scan it with my phone.
Mm.
But when you go into the QR app on the phone and then try and log in, if you leave that app at all, it just closes it entirely. And it took me 20 minutes just to sign up for that or to log into it because I did have a account already. Mm-hmm. And then you get in and the first thing you see are cutscenes that are possibly the worst looking cutscenes I've ever seen in my life. There's like this shaky cam kind of thing at low
the shaky
frame
cam was
rates.
a bad choice.
Oof.
Yeah.
It's nauseating. And I don't mean like it looks so bad it's nauseating. I'm like, it's literally actually nauseating. Mm-hmm. And then you start meeting characters who all die. So I'm
in
like, okay,
hilarious manners.
The
by
side
the way.
quests, holy crap! All of them just like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Dead.
But I gotta say, and like the game doesn't look awesome. Like it looks a little bit Gears of War, Xbox 360 ish, a little bit, right? It looks better than that, but there's a little bit of that. But then once I started playing it and I started getting into the loot, I was like, oh, I just got a green piece of gear, something that in most games you're just gonna throw away. Oh, this makes me be able to do my special ability twice as often as I could do before. Well, that's nice. And it's a green piece of gear. It's like one of the first pieces of gear I got in the game. Like, what else is in store in this game? And I started immediately having fun with it. Although, once I switched over to PC, I was having more fun than when I was on the Xbox.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
I did notice.
I was just gonna say for PS5 it ran really, really smooth, and I know Fran was having some trouble on PC with its performance.
Interesting.
So PS5, I just want to say it ran smooth as butter.
Yeah,
I didn't have a
ran
problem with
smooth.
it running poorly on the Xbox. It was aiming. Like I wasn't getting any feel from the weapons using a controller. Like there wasn't a lot of feedback. There wasn't like good sounds. Like, you know, being used to Destiny, which is a masterclass in weapon feel in video games, everything else always feels kind of lackluster. But with a mouse and keyboard, I felt a little bit better with the weapons.
Yeah, I could definitely see that because that was my my impression too on the shooting. I was like, the shooting definitely is kind of rough because like they do this thing where when you ADS, it doesn't help recenter towards what you're aiming at. It will let you ADS into anything, which then slows you down when you try to move your scope over to the target that you actually want to shoot. So that feels like really draggy and slow. And most games like Destiny that have cracked that problem allow it to just like kind of they guide you towards zooming in on the target that you actually wanted to zoom in on, and that would definitely help on there. But I felt the same way. I was like, I bet PC with mouse and keyboard feels much more consistent.
Weirdly,
It did,
PC with controller felt a little better than PS5 with
Really?
controller, which is very strange. I don't know what the hell that's about.
Maybe you got drifting sticks on your PS5.
My PS5 controller?
Drifting sticks already.
You got them. You caught the case of the drift.
Bad case of the drift. Oh no. I agree. The first impression of the game doesn't serve it that well. Like they've got this cool world, and it just like they serve it up in a way where you're less invested. You're not like I said, everybody's dying, and then you wake up 30 years later, and it's like, okay, and everybody's kind of like kitschy about it, being like,
you skip
so
80
back.
years, then you skip another 20.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you're back. All right, we'll get out there and shoot some stuff. And it's like, all right, and you're,
All right.
yeah. But the actual gameplay loop, I really enjoyed, especially playing as a group. That was a lot of fun because energy's synergized, and the combat excitement was there for me. And it was and obviously the loot's exciting, but I always keep in mind, like, this is early game loot. Early game loot historically is like, yeah, you're seeing all this new stuff, so it's going to be exciting. What does end game really look like? Is it the same perks with just better stats, or is it truly unique, like things that you can't get until you hit end game? Like those are always concerns I have. Also, does like end game combat look the same as early game combat? You know what I mean?
Also, how much end game is there to this game? Because I think the developers are saying
before we talk about is end game a thing, does it exist? They put out a 13-minute video on their YouTube channel, go just about end game,
right.
post campaign content, what to expect from it, what it looks like. So
this is not a live game. This is not 1,000-hour, 2,000-hour
Correct.
game,
No.
right?
No.
It's like they've been very clear on this. They've said expect to put 35 hours into this game. You know, if you want to play a little bit after that, you know, that's on you. But it's not. They're not saying this is the next Destiny division. Anthem. Like they're not marketing that way. So I think expectations should be, when you buy the game, that should be the expectation it needs to make.
Yeah, the impression that I get is it's like Borderlands meets, Gears of War type of thing, like, or Destiny classes, abilities with Gears of War combat and a Borderlands kind of like story kind of go through without it being truly a live service type of thing. Which that sounds great to me. I'm definitely interested.
That makes the early game loot more interesting too, because they don't have to save all the cool stuff for the end game. That makes then just like getting green stuff, getting blue stuff, as you go through the game proper, your 35-hour experience, then you can just get stuff. You can get cool stuff, and that 35-hour experience is awesome.
Yeah.
As opposed to to get anything out of this game, you got to put 100 hours into it. Like, do I really want to do that?
Yeah, I think something that I picked up on while playing the demo is that this game has learned a lot from all sorts of games, not just looters, but all types of games. And it's in the little intricacies of the things that they've done. Like it's free to reset your skill tree. You can do it whenever. It doesn't cost you anything. Have fun. The fact that you are getting really interesting loot to start making really genuine builds,
builds
right away.
Mm-hmm.
You can get into making builds. And that is something in most games. You're not going to be making an interesting build. You might have a little rinky-dink build in some other games, but it's not going to be interesting, or seeing the synergies with the guns and the abilities and all of that together really early. So that was great. I would love that. You will be shown the interesting loot and build making potential of the game almost right away.
Yeah, it does. I think it did do a good job of showing that right away. Like you could see how your abilities and these weapons and armor were automatically synergizing with blue gear. By the way, blue and up is what gives you those modifiers.
Well, it has a mod.
Yeah. And there's a whole crafting thing that I don't really know much about, but I'm sure you'll be able to like pull that stuff out and put it into other pieces of gear and all that. Which, I think that's really cool. I'm definitely interested in it.
Yeah, you're going to be able to. So with crafting, you can delete blue gear and get the mod and put it in other things. You can also upgrade the rarity of gear, so you can go blue to purple, if that's what you want to do. So it seems like in terms of build crafting, it's going to be pretty open. And then watching this video about the end game looks really interesting. It also shows all the different biomes. There's like forest, there's snow, there's big monsters that they're fighting. So it's definitely
I was a little concerned it was just going to be brown.
Yeah, just a desert. Yeah, it's definitely not. I'll put the link to it in chat so people can check it out, because right at the beginning of the video they show the different biomes. And that looks really cool. Looks good.
Yeah, the demo gives you a taste of two. Sorry, Eric, I just want to say the demo gives you a taste of two. It's like you get the forest-ish area in the very, very beginning before you fast forward, and then you go into this brown world. And that's another thing that doesn't like do it justice for the demo. It kind of gives you a bland feel. Go for it, Eric.
No, I was gonna say it's like I didn't play the demo, but I played it at like 3 different events before then, and that's kind of why I didn't play the demo. But I'd be interested to kind of see where you guys fall with it, because I definitely agree with you that there are elements that they've obviously learned from a lot of previous games, and I do feel like loot games in this current time space should do to a degree what they've done, in that they offer you the looting experience in a condensed package that you can enjoy in 35 hours without having to be like, I need to juggle this as another Destiny. My gripe with the game, and the reason I didn't jump back into it, is because I just, for me, much like, with Destiny or Anthem or any of those things like that, like I need the moment-to-moment gameplay is what's going to keep you playing. And that's precisely my gripe with Outriders, that when I play a lot in these events, like there was no feedback. Like the thing is that I got that like really bothered me is that the weapons look fantastic. Like in terms of weapon design, they've got some of the coolest looking gear. Like the gear looks cool, the weapons look cool. When I played in some of the capture events, I got quite a few legendary items, and the legendary items look very, very cool. And I agree that like even early on when it's like, oh, you can just do 2 of your ability, that's a game changer. But for me, when I looked at the classes, it's like, I played like Devastator, who can like create like an earthquake out of the ground, which I think to myself, when I want to do that, I want to feel my controller like rumbling. I want to see like the ground like break open. But a lot of the time it was just like a piddly little sort of like visual effect, and it's like, all right, there's no feedback on that. I was running around, I felt like I was kind of in the same way that I don't play Path of Exile. I felt like I was floating through the environment, not like I'm actually like running. Like it didn't have the sort of Gears of War weight to me. It was just more like I'm just like skating through. Then the guns didn't really feel individual. They all felt very much the same. So for me, the problem was like visually, if you just look at it, like, oh, it's potentially quite interesting. But to me, whenever I played it, I was like, the moment to moment gameplay is just so lackluster. And then also when you start jumping between classes, it's like, oh, the Devastator's got this cool move where like you earthquake the ground, but then the Pyromancer's got a same move where he just flames the ground. And I'm like, basically the same thing. So yeah, that was my kind of like, there's some interesting components there, but I just feel like in these games you need to feel that like stuff, and I don't know if the demo was any different, but I just didn't get that at all.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think that's the same in the demo.
Yep.
The weapon, like I switched between I think a submachine gun and LMG at one point, and like I literally couldn't feel the difference between the two guns. The spread pattern was different, but it didn't feel any different like to me playing the game. They haven't gotten the recoil right and like the feedback. Even when you're getting shot, like they don't really get that feedback kind of right. Like it doesn't feel like you don't know you're in danger until all of a sudden like your screen starts flaring red because you're close to death, right? Because there's no indication of that really. They don't, and the screen's shaking all the time, so screen shake isn't going to work here, right? Like they need to calm down on the motion blur, the screen shake, and use it a little more judiciously to actually communicate things to the player.
Motion blur will be able to be turned off when the game comes out. And I'm sure they're going to do a thing with the shaking as well, would be my guess, because how much they've been communicating with people and being like, all right, you don't like that? Okay, we'll put something in to change that. We'll work on that. So I'm hoping that we know for sure they'll have a way to turn off motion blur in the full game. I'm hoping that they also work on a way to tune down any kind of screen shake.
Yeah. Definitely. When we were playing with Bless, Watts and I, we were getting teleported, and this enemy has the ability to like create like a teleport spot and then immediately moves you. It teleports you clearly to another area of the map. And the effect of that is so minimal that when you're in the middle of combat, you think you lagged out and suddenly shifted somewhere on the map. You're like, did I just lag? What's going on here?
Yeah. When I knew what was happening, I definitely was like, don't know what happened there, a little weird. When I knew what was happening and like I stood near the little vortex and it was like sucking me in, I had to run away, and then I was like, oh, I get it. But when it hit me like that first time, I was like, I have absolutely no idea what's happening.
Yeah, it was like, this is buggy? What's going on? Because they, just like you were saying, the visual feedback of all this stuff, from getting shot to your abilities to getting teleported from an enemy's the thing, even like getting engulfed in flames, they're not very consistent or good. Like you play Destiny, when you teleport in Destiny through a portal, it is like a very clear experience that's happening, a suction effect. Like you're being you can feel the teleportation, just like when you slam on the ground with a Titan or something, like, or shoulder charge. Like you understand that's happening from the visual feedback, and most of that's missing in this game.
Yeah.
However, I freaking love it, and I had a freaking blast, and I can't wait for the full release. I played the Trickster.
The Trickster's fun. The Trickster is really cool. I played 3 of the classes. The Trickster, what's the flame one?
Pyromancer.
Pyromancer, and the guy that turns into stone, which I also can't remember the name of. Devastator. And like I like the abilities. I can't wait to like fill out the subtree. I'm definitely gonna buy this game, but I'm also kind of like half thinking like I can't wait to see what they do with Outriders 2, because like this game I think is gonna be more fun with people than it is gonna be playing solo, because the interaction between the different classes and like almost like combos in Anthem, where you can set people up and then hit them with another one.
Yeah.
Whereas that stuff, it's all on timers. When you're playing in a single player experience, you're using a lot less of your abilities, and you have to shoot more, which is way more boring than using the actual abilities, just like Anthem was. Like this is I'm buying this game. I'm not like the story. Like I'm not interested in this story at all. Like it's not even good enough that they can take it seriously.
It's just a delivery mechanism, right? The story.
Yeah, it's like it's delivered poorly, especially the fact that the cutscenes like literally make me nauseous to watch them. So I'm just skipping through the cutscenes at this point. But I am having fun with the abilities, and I do like it with a group. I like it less as a solo player.
Sure.
But what about the bridge cutscene?
You literally jump over the bridge and that's it.
Dude, see, this kind of thing, it just makes me laugh. Like, and hilarious. I said to when we were playing together with me, Tefty, and Bless, I was saying that their reactions to what's happening is like what a gamer's reaction would be to what's happening, not a person in the world. But I was like,
The
I
mouth,
kind of
jaw
like that
hanging
though.
open.
Yeah, where it's like, wow, all right, cool, kill this motherfucker too. I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's what happened.
Wait, I do want to
Yeah.
say though that like this is clearly looking like a, you know, it'll be fun to play pastime. It's not going to be like game of the year or anything like that, obviously. But they nailed what should be a demo. This demo doesn't feel like a
Yes.
beta.
This
It's
is
also
an old school demo.
Yeah, this is like
Well,
an
it's
old,
called demo. They're not
Mhm.
trying to like name it something else. It's
no, I know,
actually
but like
called
a lot
demo.
of companies want to do a demo that's then called a beta because they don't
Yeah.
have stuff like
That's
fixed
a
or
check
whatever.
your ass thing, I think, right?
You know, yeah. So this demo is a legit demo. It works. It also has crossplay, which is awesome. With
Yeah,
the,
but
you
it
know-
doesn't have cross save, unfortunately.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's too bad. I
Yeah.
thought it did. Yeah.
So yeah, I was surprised by that because when I switched from Xbox to PC, I was like, well, wait a minute, why isn't this working? How come I can't get my character I made on Xbox over to my PC? And
That's an oversight.
cross. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that'll be in the full game or maybe it'll be added later, but it is
Cross-save
it's
would definitely
definitely
be better. Yeah.
But this is like an actual, you are playing the first portion of the game. You're not playing like a very specific thing that was created for you to experience in a beta to sell you on these points of the game. They're actually showing you this is your experience of the first part of the game. The demo is going to be around forever, even when the game is out. So if you are interested in the game, you can play the demo, and it transfers all of your stuff from the demo to the main game.
that's
Yeah.
nice because
So-
that's never the case, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
never.
Yeah, it's never the case. Like usually a demo is just a taste of, or it's usually called a beta, so they can wipe all that data, and that's that. You move on from it. But this one, it legitimately feels like a next gen demo or first taste of a game because of it being all crossplay, and your stuff is moving forward. I don't know. I was really pleased with it. I think the game is going to be like fun, but not like groundbreaking or stellar or anything like that. I'm looking forward to like playing it and sinking some time into it, but I'm not thinking it's going to be a whatever killer.
Yeah,
An
yeah,
Anthem
there's
killer?
There'll be fun to be had. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this is one of those ones that I think I'll probably give it a miss. This one, but it is coming out pretty close to Monster on the Rise. So I got a time.
Yeah,
for
right.
that. But yeah, I can see there is definitely some fun to be had, and I would definitely like to sort of see. You know, I mean, I know we've spoken before about how the sort of loot genre in itself is probably kind of been done to death at this point. But I feel like if people do want to do more of these loot things, I think they should probably go for this kind of route. Not to say that the Outriders is the golden standard, not definitely not. But like more to the point, just like if they want to do these, you know, self-contained 35 hours, give me some loot to grind, but not make it an endless thing, I can get behind that.
Yeah, I like that better at this point.
I'm definitely my kind of experience with the game is kind of the opposite, where I initially was not that excited about it, not really on my radar at all, and then the company started being super transparent. Like, one thing I will say, which is a side tangent of my other tangent, this is a very good show of how a company should talk to its audience. The things that this company has been communicating on Twitter, the massive video that they put out of here's what you can expect from your experience on PC, the big like 14-minute video they put out about Endgame. You notice Anthem never talked about Endgame. Division
No.
never talked about Endgame. There was a
They didn't have
reason
one.
why they never
Yeah.
talked about Endgame. So them being very open and transparent about here's what your post-campaign content looks like.
Yeah.
I will say that regardless of if you think that the game is really good or you're going to pick it up but you don't like it, I think the company behind the social media and communicating with the community has been done really well and is a good show of what companies might want to do in the future.
Do you think $70 is a good price point for this?
Depends on if you're into it. Like if you play the demo
It's
and you really like
hard to
it,
say.
then you can justify the cost.
I really like the demo. I will say as well, let me tell you, that cover, you think this is a cover-based shooter? That cover is not for me. It's for my enemies.
That cover.
I'm just running in there, slicing, dicing, slowing time, turn people into skelebobs.
So I wanted to talk about my experience with the Pyromancer because it's very different from your experience as what was it?
Yeah.
Trickster? Yeah.
Trickster, yeah.
Pyromancer is like this stay in the back and light things on fire type of gameplay. And I didn't want to do that, but I had to because I would die running into stuff like Watts was doing. So the characters definitely feel different from each other, even though the abilities themselves don't give you the strong visual feedback that you want. Like lighting people on fire, it just looks like fire sprites, and then they get like a fire animation. It didn't really look like satisfying lighting things on fire as a pyro. I was a little disappointed on that. I got to play Devastator, and I actually enjoyed Devastator a lot more with the idea of like staggering them and then doing the ground pound and then throwing the golem skin on there from time to time. So I will say that the variety that you get from switching or switching different classes is pretty good, you know, and
It's pretty good. Yeah.
And that's only 4 abilities that's being shown. There's other abilities that will unlock as the game gets further, or once you get the full game. So, yeah.
Can we talk about virtual tennis now?
I mean, are we going to talk about that? Or are we going to talk about this Elden Ring trailer leak?
Oh, is that
You
a
don't
thing?
want to talk about that?
I didn't see
There's
that.
Can you
Trailer?
link us? Can you link us to that so that we can look at it while we're talking
Well,
about?
yeah. Okay, I'll put it in
virtual
chat.
on?
I don't know, and I'll put it in Twitter as well, just so we all have it.
When did this leak?
Well, it's been slowly leaking throughout the day, right? That's
Oh,
the-
wow.
Right.
Okay.
And there's been rumors of an Elden Ring trailer on the internet, and then March 1st, today, this was uploaded as the Elden Ring trailer leak.
Oh wow, this is definitely a leak. Like this is like
this is bootleg.
cell phone camera looking at a TV screen kind of thing.
Why
Yeah,
does this cell phone
And there's
not
like
have 4K?
watermarks all over it. Yeah, right. This is a cell phone from 1984.
Yeah. Come on. Like the last.
You know one thing that always bothers me about leaks. I mean, like regardless, like I would rather things don't get leaked because obviously I feel for the studio. But it's more like whoever gets access to the leaks, why do they always have like a Nokia 3210? Like
Yeah.
in a modern day and age, why have you anyone can record at least 720p video? And
At
you're just
least,
like,
right?
I'm gonna use my potato. I'm gonna hold it like this.
260p.
What the crap?
It's rough looking.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a longer leak now that is over a minute long out there.
Yeah. There's some different segments that sort of show like a longer boss and stuff. But yeah, it's one of those weird ones. Like I'm everyone's so hungry for Elden Ring right now. Like, obviously, I've been sort of seeing the little clips that have been kind of going, but I'm like, I don't want to see it this way because I want to experience the trailer with the sound and all its glory. And it's just like,
that's my thing. It's like the trailer being leaked. I'm like, okay. I'll take a little look at it, but I'm not going to pay too much attention to it and be stopping and like, what is that? Oh my God, what was that? But for me, it's more so just like, it's nice that a trailer exists. That's all I need to know. I don't even need to see it. Trailer
Can
exists.
we take
Great,
anything
wonderful.
from this? Like, do you think that we'll get it this year? Do you think we'll get it next year? Like, is there anything to be gleaned from this? I'm sure people will be breaking it down endlessly. But
not at the moment, because it's weird because I was trying to sort of look at some segments because obviously the thing with Elden Ring is it's supposed to be like one of the things I'm super excited about. It's supposed to be steeped in like Norse mythology, so like the Souls game is sort of not. But the thing is, short of seeing like the world tree, there weren't too many things that I initially noticed. Like I didn't sort of see like any obvious like, oh, this is like a Norse god that you're fighting or anything.
No.
We see some horseback combat. But the interesting thing is, I feel like the announcement itself is probably going to be coming quite soon because apparently recently Bandai Namco registered a trademark for something called Bandai Namco Next, which sounds kind of like an online reveal event sort of thing. So maybe they're going to do that and suddenly start showing off like Elden Ring and maybe like Tales of Arise and whatever their upcoming titles are.
Oh, good. Well, I can't wait. I hope that's soon.
That's an event that I would have a blast in.
I'd love for that game to come out this year.
I love those games.
Mm-hmm.
This looks much more colorful than Dark Souls, which alone makes me happy because Dark Souls games could get a little grim, dreary.
That is true.
All right, Virtual Viking Simulator.
Virtual Viking
Tell us
Simulator.
about it, Briar. Hit us with the info.
This game is pretty interesting, right? So it's an open world kind of builder game set in kind of a Viking afterworld. It shares an awful lot with things like Minecraft or Rust or stuff like that, where you're dropped into this world. All you've got is the skin on your back, and you've got to break down trees to build an axe. You got to build a hammer. You got to build up your own house. You can upgrade your house to do certain things. You can upgrade your workbench to do other things. You got to go out and mine for copper. You got to go out and get wood and stone to do all your building.
Just for clarity
but
here, we're talking about Valheim, right?
Valhalla, yes.
Because you're going to confuse a lot of people by saying virtual Viking.
Well, you started with virtual tennis.
Yeah, you
and
said
then I was
virtual
like,
tennis,
all
then
right.
virtual Viking, and then you started describing exactly Valheim, and I'm like, there is definitely going to be people who are like, what game is this?
So yeah, I think the coolest thing is it's got all that kind of Minecrafty stuff, but then it's also got like actual combat where once you've built a couple of weapons, you can build a shield, you can build armor, and you've got like dodge mechanics and parry mechanics, and you go out and you can fight things in ways that are different than Minecraft, where I know that people are good at Minecraft combat, but to me it looks like you're just hitting the attack button as fast as you can. Whereas this, there's some art to the combat. You've got to dodge around a troll. Yeah, you've got quite a bit. It's not, I wouldn't say it's Dark Souls like combat, but it's like kind of more headed that way than it is something like Minecraft. And I gotta say, not only is the adventuring fun, but the building is really fun in this. And like I've gotten into this like almost like Zen state playing it that's very enjoyable for somebody who doesn't really get into games like this.
It is a very fun game.
It's very fun.
I'm nervous to play more because of how much time I know I'm going to want to sink into it. The more I play, like I'm very tempted to just start up a solo world and just go at it for a while because like I like those experiences as well, but I know how much time that's going to be doing that. Yeah.
Well, what you could do is just like you could go on an expedition on your own, Tefty. You could set up your own little town. We won't go near it. It's Tefty's town. Tefty's town.
No,
none of us allowed.
The server is community. Yeah.
We have been very respectful so far of other people's creations. We have Fran set us up with a server, right? And so Fran's built a house, Watts built a house. I built a boat house with a dock over the weekend.
I've been mooching.
Your house is nice. I hate my house. I'm turning it into a warehouse.
Wow, that's where you store all the grain.
It's where I'm going to store all the stuff. We need a storage
grain, materials, iron.
But having that kind of community server aspect to it, and like logging in and like going, oh, what's everybody been up to? Like,
that's really
just
cool.
kind of like taking a tour around town, and oh, look, this all this fencing is new, and all this is new, and oh, Fran totally redid the house, and now it's like it's got an actual chimney to it. Now we can make brass stuff. We can make stuff out of copper. Like we're no longer in the Stone Age. Like it's fun. Like when you do something. You feel like you're doing something for everybody on the server too, which is really nice.
Sure, yeah. It scratches a lot of itches. I mean, if you weren't into Minecraft back in the day with server stuff, it definitely scratches a lot of that same itch of you're building a communal type of thing. Like you go and get resources out of a mine or something is going to help everyone with the resources that you bring back. Like that's really cool. It's a really fun thing. And you
can also go on other servers and bring the stuff that's on your person.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
So I could go rob other servers and bring them back for us.
You could, yeah.
Marauding.
Anybody want to invite me to their server? That's probably not
Dryer's looking
now.
to meet friends in Valheim. It's a lot of fun. Like, there's also the world is big, and the way they handle the biomes, I think, is really interesting because they seem to blend in and out really well.
Yeah,
like it's really cool how they've stepped that stuff or staggered it. I wonder how far it goes. Like I know people have gotten to like the 5th boss and all that, and that's what's available right now in early access, and they're going to expand that. So that's exciting as well to see.
Yeah, it should be mentioned too. It's only a 5-man team that created this, or a 5-person team that created this. They sold like 3 million copies, so they're now trying to staff
4 million now.
4 million, awesome. But it's like I wouldn't expect like major updates to this game rapid fire because I'm sure the 5 people who are working on this are now like working on staffing up the company. So I would expect that it's going to be slow going at first and then hopefully rapidly expand. But it reminds me of playing PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds like in the early days where it's just like this is kind of janky, but under the core of this is a lot of fun. So like as it grows, like it became much smoother experience overall. That's where we are with Valheim right now. It's like it's kind of janky. Things are a little weird. We had an issue where we couldn't log in because there was this update. We didn't know how to update the server. Watts, you fixed that. Thank you. But like, you know, that's the point at this. It's definitely early access.
There's a lot to
fun.
do though in early like
There's
that's
so
what's
much
surprising.
to do.
There's a lot to explore, do, upgrade, all that right now, which is cool. It gives a good amount to discover at the moment.
This is going to be one of those stories in gaming history, really, where it's like this little team put out this thing that just caught fire and everyone loved it and it popped off. And those stories are always really cool.
Yeah. I think this is going to be like my new Sea of Thieves. It's like Sea of Thieves was something I just like to log into every once in a while, and I'd chill out and just like get on the boat, sail somewhere, go find some treasure, come back. If we were playing like with a group, I could, you know, we'd have some high seas hijinks and stuff like that. Like this totally feels like that kind of a game to me. It's where you can sit in here and chill and just build like a house for a few hours if you want to, or you go on an adventure and try and mine some tin or some copper, or you can get together with your friends and just go ape, taking down trolls and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. You know,
troll hunting's been fun.
Yeah, super fun.
I'm excited.
You know, there's dungeons.
Did you do any exploring on the server beyond what you built?
No, that's all I did is I just went. I had clear cut a bunch of forest and then started building. I wanted to build a big wall around Watts' house because we had an issue where we got invaded. So I just did like a huge wall around Watts' house, and then I also did some mining to try and flatten the earth around Fran's house, and then I built that house and the boat dock.
Hoeing ain't easy. It's difficult. That's all.
It ain't easy.
It ain't easy. It ain't easy.
Yeah, it's a cool game. I like it a lot. I'm excited to see the other biomes on the server. I know there's a swamp. I'm not sure what else there. Oh, there's a mountain biome. Once you get the ability to stay warm.
Yeah, there's wolves up there that can one shot me still.
They tear you apart.
Yeah, they get me pretty quick.
Oh, one thing
I can take down a troll, but a dog is out of my reach.
Yeah. One thing that I like that they did, which is definitely Minecraft-ish as well, but like when you die, you lose all your stuff and you have to go and get it. And like obviously it's a pain in the ass, but it raises the stakes, so you don't just feel like you can throw your life and then die and then respawn with all your stuff. Like it's interesting.
And we got into a situation. Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to
mention. We got into a situation where we're in a cave. There's a troll inside the cave. And I can't remember who died first. But it was like, Tefty, you had kited a bunch of bad guys to the cave. And me and Watts were trying to kill the troll inside the cave.
I had about
and then Fran showed up and he was trying to. And all of a sudden, people started dying. Because we had a ton of people outside the cave. So it wasn't safe to be outside of the cave. And if you went inside the cave, then the troll was in there. But what I realized is that everybody was, so if you die, you had to go back, you respawn back at the last bed you slept in. You got to run all the way back, go inside the cave where the troll killed you and pick up your gear. So every time I don't look at the map, and every time somebody got close to the cave, I'd aggro the troll to make him come closer to the dead bodies.
So you were intentionally trying to aggro the troll.
Of course you did.
So every time somebody would go inside the cave to get their shit, the troll was right there.
I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Unbelievable.
And again, another example. You guys think we're the bad guys for eating Briar when clearly we have reasoning.
He's had it coming.
He's had it coming for years.
I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun.
I legit brought 15. It had been 15 enemies from the north.
Oh, yeah,
I had done a bunch of searching, and then I was like, oh, I need to get back to where you guys are. There's a troll. And I looked behind. I'm like, there's a lot of guys behind me. I wonder if I'm going to lose them. And
you did warn us.
I was like, I'm bringing
a lot. But I was like, I can't do anything about that, Tefty. Yeah. I have nothing for you.
I was like, I'm bringing a dead army with me. You guys be prepared. And yeah, sure enough, it ended in bad stuff.
I mean, it turned out okay in the end. We actually killed that troll. We killed another troll that was attacking Fran on the way home.
Yeah, we did.
We upgraded our base, so we got a foundry and a coal maker thing. Yeah. And the next day, we had gotten enough stuff that I was able to upgrade to give us the ability to make copper and stuff like that.
It's going well.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see where we go today, or terrified.
Yeah.
One or the other.
I mean, I got a boat dock, so I think it's time to build a boat.
I think it's time to
think
go on a
so.
boat. As much as I hate to say it.
I mean, our history with boat rides, I think, is pretty strong.
What else happened? Wasn't there? It was the Pokemon stuff between last week and this week's episode.
Yeah,
There was.
definitely. Yeah.
Eric's
was,
our Nintendo,
Yeah.
our over to Eric's
us
our
the
Nintendo
Pokemon
expert on the
scoop.
ground.
there was two stuff next week. Last week there was Monster Hunter Rise, more stuff, and there was Pokemon. But yeah, Pokemon's an interesting one because obviously they had the 25th anniversary this year, and they announced the remake. They're doing remakes. Well, interestingly, a separate studio is working on the remake of Diamond and Pearl, which looks fantastic, by the way. I'm super pleased with the visual style they're going for it because they're going back to more sort of like the slightly more top-down chibi style. Obviously, because it's like a throwback to a more original one. But honestly, I really like that because I was never really a fan of the sort of weird sprites they've given us in like Sword and Shield, where you're sort of seeing these. They're not quite chibi, but they're also not quite like full humanoid. I don't know, it's just a weird hybrid thing. I don't really like them, to be honest. So I love that whole system. But then the curveball they threw in is that there's now a full open world Pokemon game that the main team are working on, which is set in the past. It's kind of gone back into sort of feudal Japan, and you're just full on like Breath of the Wild, walking around the open fields. You're able to roll. Quite why you need to combat roll, I don't know. But I'm not going to argue. You can roll. You can just like freely throw your Pokeball. You can freely just battle your Pokemon out in the wild. Admittedly, the gameplay clips they've shown were all kind of super cut, so it's kind of hard to know cohesively how it actually plays. But we kind of, it starts in a very sort of Breath of the Wild way, where it's just like, there's this painting, and then suddenly it pans out, and you're looking over this big field, and then you just start walking through this field, and then it's just like looks kind of cool. So definitely, yeah. I mean, I imagine Diamond and Pearl will obviously be the one for this year. Like that one will be much further out, but two Pokemon games.
I got the impression when the last Pokemon game, which was supposed to be like the first one for like a real console, because they'd always been stuck on like portable consoles, which the Switch still is, that fans weren't particularly like overjoyed with that one.
No.
Right. So I wonder if like they're trying to really kind of switch it up a little bit here to to really like give fans something meatier, because this is a console experience now. It's just locked down to.
I feel like they need to, because I mean, like, I love Pokemon, and in the same way that people all continue to like buy like Call of Duties or expansions to games they like, they just like more of what they like. But I do feel like Pokemon is probably, of a lot of those franchises, the one that has sort of kind of evolved the least. They have done things, they've introduced new things as you've gone along, and you can look at sort of like the generational changes. So it's not like they've done nothing, but I do feel like it almost feels in some of the newer games kind of like they're running out of ideas. And I get it. There's only so many times you can kind of reinvent the same sort of formula. But even down to sort of like some of the Pokemon designs, like back in the older games, they used to be fantastic, and some of the newer ones are just like, why is this guy a washing machine? Like, what? Like, why is this guy an upside down ice cream? It's like, So like, I definitely feel like there's some interesting things to. But it'd be cool to kind of go a different direction. I sort of jumped to conclusions at first. When they said open world, my mind went like MMO. I was like, wait, is this an online? It's like, no, it's not an online one. It's just an open world game. But still, I mean, yeah, I think it'd be cool to do something different, because you do need to, it might work for them. It might not. It might end up just being like, back in the day, you'd have something like the 3D Pokemon games on like the console, like GameCube. Yeah, those sort of ones. It might end up feeling more like that, and people are like, I kind of miss the traditional experience. But I guess now, at least having the Diamond and Pearl remake and having this new one, you've then got the best of both worlds, right?
Yeah, open world Pokemon game. I'm excited for.
I'm
excited for that. I'll play that.
Definitely. It's looking cool. But there was also on the sort of, since they're both thematically sort of set in Japan, then there's also Monster Hunter Rise news from last week. I mean, say news. It was more sort of there was some new gameplay that we got to sort of share. So we got to see a couple new hunts. Plus loads of like interviews came out. I had a chance to interview some of the team, plus some other outlets did as well. So just sort of some more information kind of sort of came around, which is cool. One of the cool things, super hyper specific, but you no longer need to get random decorations. Decorations are no longer RNG in Rise. So you go back to the crafting system, which is nice. So we don't have to worry about all that kind of holding you back. But they've also got a big event next week. They've got like 3 streams next week, actually. Different dates, but like on the 8th and 9th, they sort of said in one of the interviews, they were like, when they were talking about sort of weapon changes and stuff, they said stay tuned for next week because we got some more stuff to show. So interestingly, it seems like I guess that would be their last sort of big showing, because when you think about it, the game launches in 25
It's
days
so
now.
soon.
Just-
I
Yeah, it
can't
is.
believe how soon it is that a brand new Monster Hunter.
I'm
It's
so
coming out.
I'm
ready.
excited to play it.
Super excited.
I can't
Oh,
believe.
do you guys hear that the Nintendo Switch Pro has been announced?
I can't believe that there's going to be a PC version of Rise. I was really surprised to find
Oh, is
that
it?
out.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, a year
Yep.
later they're going to
I
come
thought
out
it was
with
just going to
PC.
be on the Switch.
Well,
Ah,
that's-
it's going to be a
later.
year later, so it's going to be like offset again, isn't it?
yeah. So
Unless they do the thing where like Monster Hunter normally does, because obviously they confirmed that this one again, in typical traditional fashion, so no surprise. But this one only goes up to high rank, so it could well be that when they, every Monster Hunter game has a high rank start, then they release like the ultimate version, which is the G rank one. So maybe
PC
when
gets
like
that.
Rise Ultimate comes out, yeah, it could be that, or they'll just be forever behind, because Capcom sometimes likes to do some mad stuff.
Yeah.
Did World
Um,
ever catch up on the PC, or has it been forever
Eventually,
behind?
it caught up in Iceborne. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's possible. It's possible. Yeah, for World it was always behind, but Iceborne it was caught up. But yeah, I
'Cause that-
I cannot wait.
That game was so pretty on PC, being able to play at a high frame rate, at 4K.
Mm.
Like, it just was awesome on PC, but not being current with all the stuff that was going on was really frustrating.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that
I was really surprised to see that they're going to do like why not put it on PS5 and Xbox Series X if you're going to put it on PC?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
really?
interesting. I wonder whether it's a difficult position, because I feel like to put it. If they're going on PC, they might as well. But it's like I feel like if you kind of put it on console, maybe their worry is that because a lot of people like World, obviously before like Monster Hunter was still quite niche, right? If World is what put it on the map, so to speak. Obviously if you've been a long time fan, you've been playing regardless. But for like mass appeal, and I feel like if a lot of people came in with just World, and then suddenly they were like, oh, I can play Monster Hunter Rise on my PS5. If they're the brand new players, they'll be like, why has this game gone backwards? Because visually, like even on PC, I wouldn't
True.
imagine it's going to have like a huge graphical overhaul.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it'd be probably
maybe-
high res, right?
Yeah, so I kind of weirdly think maybe Capcom is sort of thinking that PC players might accept that, but if you put it on PS5 and Xbox Series X, they'll be like, what is this? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Especially if you just got a PS5 or an Xbox
Yeah.
Series X, right? You want, I think
yeah.
Outriders is suffering from that a little bit. It's like, I just got a brand
Mhm.
new system and I'm playing Gears of War 2.
yeah, it didn't look. Yeah, I find it really fascinating that they were like. I was assuming that this was going to be the Switch Monster Hunter that
Yeah, me too.
dedicated to the Switch,
Yeah.
and then suddenly
That's still where I'm going to play it, though, I think.
for sure.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
definitely.
because it's only going to be on Switch when it comes out this month. But then like a year later, they're going to have it on another platform, which just seems like it would open up to other platforms. I'm like, I don't know, it's strange. Like it's great that's going to be on PC. But yeah, I'm going to be playing on Switch.
I did the thing as well with the staggered launches. It's the exact same thing as like, well, when it came out on PC, I never played it. I played it on PC just to sort of test it out, but I never played it enough because I was like, because Monster Hunter, you invest so much time. Like, by the time it comes out on PC, I'm gonna have thousands of hours on Rise. I'm like, you think I'm gonna do my grind again?
Hell no.
No, I know
Hell no.
it's too much for me to do that whole thing again. I can't.
If they gave us cross save, but I feel like Capcom.
Oh, cross save would be amazing.
That would be amazing, but I don't know. Capcom because Capcom they even sort of said with like World stuff, they were like, they were quite new to sort of developing things for PC specifically. So I feel like cross save.
Yeah.
I'm not a technical person. I don't even begin to understand how you do it, but I get the impression that maybe that might not be the thing that they do. They'll just be like, nope, you can play it separately.
Yeah, probably not.
That's it.
I would love it if they did. Hades did it where you can actually link your Steam account on your Switch, and then you download your Steam save directly onto your Switch for Hades, and then it goes back and forth. You can play on your Switch, and then
Interesting.
it'll
That's a cool way.
Yeah,
to
it'll
do it.
There's a
upload.
bunch of games that do that. Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's
that's
cool.
amazing. I would love to see that become the adopted norm for most games that support PC consoles, various consoles, all that. It's just so nice.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
There's also the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation State of Play.
Oh, wait,
Um,
yes. Final.
we-
We don't. And all we need to talk about Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy.
Well,
7?
what about
Final
Kena?
Fantasy
Kena-
VII remake,
Kena also
remake?
finally got a
The
date
remake
as
of the
well.
remake.
Final Fantasy VII VR? Anybody? Anyone want to
No.
join up?
She looks hilarious.
It actually
Yeah.
looks kind of fun.
I'll check it
Yeah.
out. And they
I'll
also
check it out.
they also announced that they didn't do that at that event, but they also announced there is going to be a PlayStation 5 VR headset, which I don't know, maybe we could talk about later. But the integrate looked pretty good. Like I'm into this PlayStation or Final Fantasy VII remake integrate.
Yeah.
And we got to
so
see
glad.
Yuffie.
So
Yeah,
like what all did they announce for this state of play for Final Fantasy
So
VII?
they announced the integrate thing. Is that what it's called? Integrate?
Yeah.
What is
They
integrate
announced.
again?
So it's kind of like a spin-off story with Yuffie, because when you look at the price of purchasing the full thing, it's like $70 for Final Fantasy VII Remake and Yuffie story. So
Right.
it's definitely
PS5.
not like part 2. It's not like, the next
It's
big
just a
part.
side story. Yeah.
It's a side thing, yeah. But she looks amazing. She's super cute. Her fighting style looks really fun. So I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
They also announced that there's going to be a BR game. It's a Final Fantasy BR game. You can summon Ifrit in your BR battles, which, I'm down.
How is this going to work?
And you don't snipe people with guns.
I don't know. But I'm going to try it.
So strange.
It's getting a high-res upgrade for the PlayStation 5 too,
Yeah.
with new textures, and like they showed off some of the differences between the PS4 version and the PS5 version. And some of it, what they were showing off, looked like a mighty big upgrade. Like there were some rough textures in the original game. As much as I love that game, it did have some rough spots visually, especially.
Skybox.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It looked good.
Yeah.
You
looked
have an
very
upgrade
good.
path as well. The game is coming. Final Fantasy VII is coming to PlayStation Plus pretty soon.
It's going to be
And
free.
that
if you have it.
version is not going to be upgradable to this, right?
Mm.
Because they're giving that away for free. But if you already have a version, if you buy a retail copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake, then you can upgrade it to the PS5 version, with the new side quest, which is pretty neat. It's nice that you
Also,
can
it's,
have that option.
Yeah, it will be running at 4K. Also, it's going to have numerous quality of life updates with improved load times. They're actually adding difficulty modes and a photo mode to it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, good stuff.
How many of you guys are going to do a replay through on the PS5?
I definitely will before the new one comes out. I'll probably wait until the new one's about to drop.
So 2025?
Yeah, around there.
around.
I don't think
on
I'll
the
bother this
PlayStation
one,
6.
'cause I very, very, very rarely go back and replay games unless it's like one of my absolute. I thought the game was fantastic, but unless it's like one of my absolute favorite games, I'm generally not a replay person. So this is it was great, but it's not in my yeah.
This fell in the man, I love this game category, and having a visual upgrade, like I'm considering just playing through offline from time to time, jumping in.
Okay.
Just play a little Final Fantasy VII.
Fair,
Yeah, I'll
fair.
probably give it a minute. Like when the new ones, we start hearing news about the new one, I'll probably play through it again just to give myself a reminder. It didn't take that long to play through. It was like what, 35 hours, 40 hours?
It's not terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the trailer for
Wait.
Sifu?
Wait, they also. Wow. More Final Fantasy news before we move on
Jeez,
to Final
Briar.
Fantasy.
Jeez.
Jeez, bro. It's like Twitter questions all over again.
Gonna have to chop you up and eat you. God damn.
They announced a mobile game, Final Fantasy Ever Crisis.
All right,
Which
moving on.
is the entire final. I'm more excited about this than any of the other announcements, because you get to play through the entire Final Fantasy VII storyline, which they're actually including Advent Children, which wasn't a game; it was a movie, right? I'm not crazy. So you're gonna be able to play that Crisis Core. You're gonna play the whole storyline in one package on your phone. So I'm
I'll
gonna play
definitely
that.
not be doing that.
I will definitely be doing
Give me an
it.
option instead, just to download a movie that lets me get caught up and doesn't have to play any of those old school dusty games.
But
Do I
they're all
have to do this to get
redone.
tendinitis, or can I just skip right to the tendinitis?
Why do all of a sudden everyone hates Final Fantasy VII all of a
Don't
sudden?
you
What
like
happened?
mobile games? Everybody's got phones, right?
Why don't they put that on the Switch?
I mean, it looks great.
I'm just a turn-based hater, basically, right? Like, unless it's Pokemon or Advance Wars, I'm a turn-based hater. I'm just like, I'm sorry, turn-based is dusty.
Well, you get to play Crisis Core. Not many people had that on PSP,
Yeah.
and this
True,
is the
true.
first time that it's really being made available.
Is it
I
gonna
tried
be-
to play the remake of, or the reissue of Final Fantasy VII on the Switch last year after playing the remake, and I was having a rough time with it. Did not like, still don't like.
I wonder if that's going to be on the iPad, because the iPad has become my main Genshin platform at this point.
Mhm.
Okay.
because like they finally added controller support last month, and so
It's got Apple Pay right on it.
it does, and I
Yeah,
trust
you
Apple
do
Pay.
just press the button.
I trust Apple Pay way more
Way easier.
than MiHoYo, so or Yoho, however it is,
All right, I want to talk about Sifu because this game looks badass.
So good.
It looks like the modern interpretation of like a brawler from like the 90s, from the 16-bit era, but with like modern controls, and like it just looks crazy cool.
What's the name again, Brian?
Sifu, Sifu.
I'm gonna play a trailer.
It's a new game by Slowclap, the guys who made Absolver. Did you guys see that?
Oh
Absolver?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, this thing, it's almost like they made a video game out of that scene from the first season of Daredevil where he's got that fight. Daredevil's fighting all those guys in the hallway, and it's all done in one like continuous take, and it's just a badass fight scene. It's like they made a video game based on that scene. It looks
It's
awesome.
also from the Raid as well. That
yes, the Raid. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah.
this does look awesome.
It does look awesome.
Like if it feels as good as it looks like it's gonna feel, then this game is. I mean, it's gonna be a knockout punch.
The guys did a really good job with like Absolver in terms of like I know they didn't necessarily sort of kick off too much, but in terms of just like the general feel of combat and that, they did a really good job. So I'm confident they should be able to do that in this game. The other thing, like when that first showed up, like the thing that jumped to my head straight away, and it just reminds me of like it's a crying shame this game never got a sequel. Is I just thought Sleeping Dogs when I saw that, and I was like,
Wow,
can't believe Sleeping Dogs never got a sequel because that game was criminally underrated. It was so good.
Yeah.
Knockout City. They also showed off Knockout City, which is the new dodgeball game.
I'm sorry.
It's got like lock-on mechanics for the dodgeball, which is a little weird.
PlayStation Plus game.
You know what, right? I saw this, right? I'm not trying to be mean to them, but I saw this. Before EA released that Rocket game, the Rocket Arena, not Rocket League, but like the Rocket Arena one where you run around. This is like Rocket Arena with dodgeball. Did they just be like, people didn't like Rocket Arena, so let's repackage it as dodgeball and try and sell it to them again and see if they notice it? And it's like, it just looks like the same damn game.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is, go on, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was saying the nice thing is we got a date for Kena Bridge of Spirits.
We did finally.
That was the big takeaway for me.
Yeah, because I was just so worried because I was because initially from that in January where they had that CES thing and they were like Kena Bridge of Spirits is coming out Q1, so we're like it's going to be March, and I was like they're going to relaunch it 3 days before Monster Hunter Rise. I can just tell it, and now it's August, and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
August 24th.
Take your time.
A good time, right?
That's great. That's great. That's summer. We don't often get games during that summer window, right? That's
what if they drop Breath of the Wild in August as well?
Oh,
Breath of the Wild dose.
I
see, for a while there we were worried. For a while we were worried about Breath of the Wild 2, Kena, and Monster Hunter all coming out in the same month.
Although, you know what? Given the recent announcement, I'm now starting to like. I really hope they do it this year, but now, given the recent announcement, I'm wondering whether Breath of the Wild 2 might end up being like Q1 next year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just by the fact that obviously we had the anniversary thing, they didn't even have a brand new trailer to show yet. They obviously said like, we're still working along, we're still progressing in the game, but we'll have some stuff to show soon. I feel like if they had. If they were shooting for this, I mean, it's not beyond possibility, because this is obviously the year of the 35th anniversary, right? And like they did with Mario, they'll have various different beats around it. They've announced the first one being Skyward Sword, which is fantastic. I'm sure there'll be other games. There's rumors that the team that Grezzo that worked on the Link's Awakening remake, there's rumors that they're working on something as well. So I'm sure there'll be lots of different beats, but I do wonder whether because they have nothing to show right now, and they're still saying that message. I think to myself, maybe they'll drop a trailer like mid-year and then just say, "Hey, Q1 next year instead."
Do you think maybe though they really are trying to line it up with a Switch Pro, a Super Nintendo Pro Switch, or something like that?
Possibly,
and they would push that to next year to line it up.
I reckon.
I mean, you got to have something to sell with the hardware, right? You can't put out a Switch Pro and then have no software that takes advantage of the extra power.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild 2 would definitely sell Switch Pros.
Yeah, absolutely.
So would a new Metroid, guaranteed.
Yeah. I mean, nice to get a 2-pack.
Come on, Metroid. Please don't be in purgatory forever.
All right. So there was, I think it was like some kind of magazine interview with PlayStation guys, and they mentioned that there is a PS5 version of the virtual virtual reality
Oh, yeah.
headset coming, right? So there is going to be an upgrade to that. Let me ask you guys. Nobody bought that, right? Did anybody buy into the PS4's virtual
I
reality?
haven't bought a single
Oh, you
VR
did?
one yet.
It's actually my favorite VR headset.
It's the most comfortable one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. What would it take for them to sell you on a virtual reality headset at this point for the PS5?
I think for me, the thing is, it's kind of. I was having this discussion with somebody the other day. It's like for me, it's the same kind of thing. Like VR headsets, exact same thing as like when people were adopting 4K and like looking ahead to like 8K. It's not even the hardware anymore. It's just the experiences are what drive the adoption, right? It's like if someone says, "Oh, 8K is coming around the corner," it's like unless I have something that's actually going to be worth the 8K, like I don't care. Like same with like 4K and same with VR headsets. Like my ongoing gripe with them is not that the tech isn't there. It's just that every VR, even with some of the really good ones, I know you mentioned the Star Wars one before. I know obviously we had like Half-Life Alyx, and my favorite one on PlayStation was Rick's. But still, regardless, every VR experience, and I'm sure it's limited by the fact that you can't spend like 16 hours sitting in a headset. But the main thing is that like every experience to me still feels like a tech demo. Like even if it is a full game, I just feel like none of those have ever offered me a AAA experience in the same sense. Some of them may have come close. Like, I know Half-Life Alyx was like really good, but I still would never say any of the VR things that I've personally played. I felt like, this is going to go in my top games list alongside things like God of War and Zelda. And I feel like until VR has something like that, I couldn't care less.
They got to be genre defying. Like this is a must buy game.
I've had enough like really good experiences that I don't feel that way. Like
okay.
I thought Squadrons was honestly like a childhood dream come true, but it's like pretty niche. Like because I'm such a Star Wars fan, like I really did enjoy the feeling of sitting in a cockpit of an X-wing and flying, like strafing a Star Destroyer and like really having that sense of scale as I like can look around and track other pilots. And like, I had the flight stick and the throttle and everything. So it was really immersive in that way. I think the Vader Immortal stuff is real good. I haven't done that Half-Life Alyx stuff. I'm not into horror games, especially in VR. So, but like Resident Evil 7 was a fantastic VR experience. I think that game was better in VR than it was outside of it. Like I really enjoyed it. You're right. There's no Breath of the Wild, but I mean, there's some really good experiences in there for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely not discounting the experiences that exist for sure, but is there a game that is pulling me where I have to play it in VR every day for a couple weeks straight? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. That's what it's missing to really get that adoption rate going.
Yeah.
But on the technical side, I definitely I don't know what exists currently with the PS4 one, but I would want as much FPS as possible in those headsets with a decent resolution. So like at least 100 to not feel like I want to puke, from the visual frame rate. Like if it was 120 and higher, it'd be ideal. But I don't know. I don't know if that's possible.
I think they usually are around 90 or up. Yeah.
Okay.
I would really like a wireless one. Like I'd love the PS5 one to be wireless because that's kind of my biggest hang up to like setting it all back up when I'm ready to play some VR is like, all right, I gotta, especially for the PS4 one, like the wire mess for the PS4 was a nightmare because you had to plug an HDMI cable from your PlayStation 4 into this like box and then from the box to your TV. And then there was like power cords and USB cords just going everywhere. And it was kind of hard to just leave it hooked up because there was so much to it.
Yeah.
And like taking it down and putting it back up was a real pain in the neck. Like stuff like the Oculus Quest, where it's literally just battery powered. You slide it on, you grab the stuff, and you're in. It's so much nicer. Like it's the ease of just like jumping into VR is so nice. I'd love them to make a wireless version of this.
I think they definitely need to go that direction. I think for a lot of people, just like being in a headset and like having to subconsciously be mindful of the wires behind you kind of just takes you out of the experience anyway. I feel like, and exactly to your point, that's why I never kind of got fully immersed in VR because I could never leave it set up, whether it be on my PC or whether it be on PlayStation. And then every time a new experience comes out, I'm like, can I really be bothered to set this up? Especially because since a lot of time we record content, but I also have to wire it through something else, which is a capture card. So I'm just like, this is just too much work. I can't be bothered. So yeah, if it was just literally grab the headset, put it on, I'd be a lot more open to diving in just and checking things out randomly.
If you like leave it in a drawer, like in your living room, and just pull it out, slap it on, and head out, it's supposed to set up all those cables, that mess of cables.
Yeah. It's just not convenient yet.
Yeah.
PlayStation, what they need to do, they need to develop the red pill and just take it, and then I'm in the Matrix.
There it is.
As long as I can learn everything in an instant.
Yes.
That's what will get me to play VR. Can I learn everything instantly by putting on
I
this
know
headset?
Shaq Fu.
Why am I not fluent in Japanese yet?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. If it can't make me fluent in Japanese, I'll wait until it can.
Yep. Elon Musk has got to develop it. That's why.
The brain link.
Maybe.
Mind
Yeah.
link. Yeah.
So we're gonna be streaming some virtual on later today.
So it's Valheim.
Stop. Gonna confuse everyone.
Oh, I'm confused. What am I playing later? We doing Outriders, gamers? Let's go. Eyes up, Outriders. Let's go farm some legendaries.
Eyes up, Vikings.
Well, that's the title of my stream today.
That should be the title. That should be the title of this episode.
Yeah.
Eyes
Okay.
up, Vikings.
That's done.
pretty good.
That's happening.
That's pretty good.
So that's it.
I gotta tell you, I've been real addicted to Street Fighter V as well. The new season 6 update or season 5 update. I think season 5 update. They buffed like every character, made Ryu like an absolute badass. I got this new arcade stick.
Yeah,
that
you
I've
got
been
the
messing with.
stick. Yeah.
Oh man, I've been having no. I didn't build this one. I'm
Okay.
going to modify it once.
Okay.
It just came in the mail today.
Oh, okay.
So I'm playing with it. I've been doing my training mode in Street Fighter V while I was waiting for you guys to show up.
Very
Nice.
I'm having fun with that game. It's like a 6-year-old game now, and I'm still having a blast with it. Street Fighter 6 is supposed to come out next year.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Once they've had like a giant roster installed in Street Fighter V, now it's time for a new game.
Yeah, there's like 40 characters. It's a lot. It's a lot to get used to.
Well,
and what's that other? Oh, Guilty Gear Strive is coming out.
That was great.
Oh,
The beta
okay,
for that
yeah.
was fantastic.
Beta was good.
Nice.
I can't wait for that game. That's pretty good.
Is that SideQuest complete?
I think so.
It is.
Killed it.
complete.
That's it. Number 84. Thank you very much for watching, listening, hanging out. Shout out to our Patreon members and our live Twitch subs. Thank you very much for the support on the podcast. And yeah, Eric's, where can people find you?
You can find me over on Arix Gaming on YouTube or at Arix on Twitter, where I will once again be rambling about Monster Hunter.
Excellent. What?
Perfect. You can find me. I'm Miss 5000 Watts on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. This week, I think we're going to be doing some more Outriders because I want to farm for a legendary. I got one. It's the sniper rifle. Not very helpful for me personally. So I want to do a bit of that. And Destiny, of course. Vikinging it up. And
Nice. Rare.
You can find me. I'll be doing a review on this arcade stick that I don't want to share how much I spent on it. On the YouTube channel, just look for Briar Rabbit. It's made out of solid aluminum.
Damn.
ooh,
It's amazing.
you
got
can
a
tell us
removable-
later.
Yeah, a removable ball.
You can put that on your Crocs.
Yeah. So look forward to that. We'll also having some fun over on Twitter at the Briar Rabbit, and I will be streaming some Valheim this afternoon.
Nice. And I'm Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter, and I will also be streaming some Valheim later today, 3:30 p.m., 30-ish Pacific. And that's the show.
Nice.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon for another one. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.